Hi there. I always thought that harps were instruments that you could only buy if you had loads and loads of money. Turns out I was wrong. Enter the Sharpsicle, this instrument here. I'm going to say a few things in this video that I've already said in some previous vlogs that I've done on the harp, so please forgive the repetition, but this is my review of the Sharpsicle. I bought this instrument a few weeks ago as a sort of a stopgap while I was waiting for my main harp to be repaired. I'm a complete beginner on the harp. I played the guitar professionally for many years, but I really wanted to learn the harp, having seen my friend Frank's harp in America. He's got one of these, he's got a Sharpsicle, but they're quite hard to get over here in the UK. So I ended up buying a different harp, and anyway, when it came it was broken, and I ended up buying this on eBay to sort of tide me over, as it were. But as it happens, it's ended up being my main harp because I've had to send the other harp back. So the Sharpsicle is the second one up in the range. There's a whole range of these harps. The Harpsicle is a kind of base model that has no levers at all. The Sharpsicle, this is the one that I have here, has got levers on the C's and the F's. So basically you've got 6 keys readily available to you: C major, A minor, G major, E minor, D major, B minor. The Flatsicle is the next one up from mine, and that has levers on the C's and the F's and the B's. There's a Fullsicle, which has a complete set of levers. There is a special edition of the Fullsicle harp. I think that's made in some kind of fancy woods. And of course the big daddy of them all is the Grand Harpsicle, which is 33 strings, and it's also electric as well. Having said that, when I got this harp it had a little bug pickup in it, which I haven't used yet, but I'm guessing that'll be pretty good to use. But obviously if you've got a dedicated jack socket and built-in pickup, that's obviously preferable. So when you think of a harp, you think of a massive great thing with very, very fancy designs. The Harpsicle is basically a fairly plain thing, but it's really beautiful. Comes in a whole range of colours. I've got a list in front of me here: black, white, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, pink, purple, and natural, and then maybe some more that I've missed. So they're kind of what I call poster colour paints, really sort of solid. This is, I think I would call this a royal blue, but it really is a nice paint job. Sadly, the person that had this one before me didn't look after it particularly well, and there are a few chips, but having cleaned the harp up, it's still pretty nice. I would have loved to have bought myself a brand new one, but unfortunately funds wouldn't run to that, and ultimately I hope to get a Grand Harpsicle, the full 33 string job. You get obviously the tuning wrench, okay, and you get a very nice cover, which I'll show you now. It's a lovely cover. It's got this embroidered Sharpsicle Harps logo down here. Nice big zip pocket, put your music in, and there's even a little compartment at the top here for putting the stick in, and this thing sticking out here. I'm not using the stick in the conventional way, and I'll come to that a bit later on. But it's it's a nice cover. This shoulder strap. Generally speaking, you probably wouldn't think about a harp being a very portable instrument, but this one is. You could take this one on the bus to school, or you could take it camping. It's light enough to be able to do that. Also, there are lots of books available for this instrument specifically. There's this book here which is written by Darlene Walton. She's one of the people that is involved with Harpsicle Harps. She's a teacher, and you can see her on the Rees Harps and Harpsicle Harps videos. Looks like a very nice lady, and this is the book 1, and it's a really good book. I've been using this. Even though the arrangements are simple, they're very tasteful, they sound really good, and that's important when you're learning an instrument. You don't want to start off and have something that doesn't sound very good. These arrangements are great. and there's loads of others. I've got a few here. This one here. I have this Turlo O'Carolan book of tunes as well, and there are loads of other books as well available specifically for this harp. So let's talk about some specifications of this instrument. It weighs 6.75 pounds, 6 3/4 pounds with the stick attached. It's 37 inches at its highest point. It's 19.5 inches at its kind of deepest point, back to front if you like. And it's 5.5 inches at its widest point. The string distance might interest you. On the other harp that I had for a couple of days, the strings were slightly wider apart. These are 13 millimetres from the middle of one string to the next, and obviously that's uniform, I think, throughout the range of the strings. I mean, I've got fairly long fingers, but they're fairly slender. I find it very comfortable to play. The stick, by the way, if you're interested, is 17 inches long by 3/4 of an inch. So I've been very thorough with my specs there. Most harps are pretty heavy, but this one really isn't. It's a lovely lightweight thing, and you can attach a guitar strap to it as well. It's got guitar strap buttons on the front and on the side here, and I've got a guitar strap that came with this. I didn't particularly get on with that, but I've seen loads of videos of people standing up playing, and it's probably something that's great for other people, perhaps not for me. If you're curious about the strings, they're all nylon monofilament, a bit like the upper strings you find on a classical guitar, so they're not wound at all. If you don't particularly like these bottom 4 strings, you can have those replaced. Sharpsicle harps do a set of strings that have wound bass strings that replace those bottom 4, but you've got to have a Sharpsicle harp that's got these 4 larger holes down there to facilitate that. Okay, mine does. Mine was made in 2011. If you've got the smaller holes down the bottom, you won't be able to have those replacement strings. Let me tell you a little bit about Rees Harps, Sharpsicle harps. The company was started by William Rees back in 1975. He started making banjos and guitars, all kinds of instruments, but he ended up settling on making harps. And when he introduced the Sharpsicle, they took off, as you would understand, in a major way, because they're lightweight, they're not that expensive, and so they really caught on all around the world. So what started as a bit of a hobby has developed into a successful business, and rightly so, I think. They're based in Rising Sun, Indiana, in the United States, small town there. And what started off in a garage is now in a 7,000 square foot facility where they make the harps and sell the harps. It's very much a family orientated business. For instance, Bill's son does a lot of the designs on the harps, not on these particular ones, but on the fancier concert harps. Bill's daughter-in-law, Melissa, lovely lady who I've been dealing with a lot, and I'll tell you more about that in a little bit later, works for the company. Darlene Walton, who's the harp teacher, she also works for the company. And there's friends, there's neighbours, and it sounds like a really lovely setup of about a dozen people who work for Rees Harps, work for Sharpsicle harps. From what I've seen on the videos and my experience of them, they really do seem to care about their customers post-sale. Very often I've bought something in the past, and I expect you've had this experience as well. You part it with your hard-earned cash, and then if you get a problem, they're not quite so interested afterwards, are they? But in the case of Sharpsicle harps, I get the feeling that it's not the case at all. I've made a few inquiries, and I've had virtually instant response, and in a very courteous manner. I mean, just so you know, I didn't buy this harp directly from Sharpsicle harps. I bought it on eBay from a cash converters shop down in South London, and it was in a terrible state when I got it, very dirty and messy and mucky, horrible. We cleaned it up, and it's lovely. And like I said in a previous vlog, I wouldn't have been surprised if Sharpsicle Harps had said to me, well, okay, you know, that's fine, you didn't buy the harp from us, so, you know, tough luck. But actually they were not like that at all. And so I think that's a really good sign for the future. So let's get to the review of the harp, what I actually think of it. I mean, I'm not a harpist. I'm a complete novice on this instrument. I'm a guitarist. I'm a professional musician. Well, I've actually retired now. And this is my latest hobby, and I'm really loving learning to play it. So what do I actually think of this instrument? Well, I have to say, I absolutely love it. It's a joy to play, a joy to own. The tone is fantastic, and I'll play you a couple of bits in a minute. I think the best thing I can do is to just sit at the instrument and just play a couple of bits for you so that you get the idea of what it sounds like. And bear in mind that I'm not an experienced harpist. Somebody who is will get far more out of this instrument. Having said that, this is the perfect harp, I'd say, for the beginner. Don't be tempted by some of the fancy looking rosewood harps that you can get on eBay. They may look fantastic, but trust me, they're really not. You'd be far better off getting one of these. It's built like a tank. It doesn't look like a tank, it's a lovely looking thing, but it really is a very robust musical instrument, and I don't get the feeling at all that it's about to fall apart. I feel very sort of confident in it. Anyway, let's shift the cameras around and I'll play you a few notes, maybe a few tunes on this lovely instrument. In case you're wondering how I've got this rigged up, you can buy a variety of stands for this instrument. There's a kind of display floor stand, and there is a dedicated stand that you can attach the harp to by means of this stick. The stick here that you can see screwed to the back of the harp is not generally used like this. It's meant to be laid across your legs, but I've made my own kind of rig here, which is fairly Heath Robinson, but it kind of works. I've used a cheap old guitar stand here. The harp is on a stool. I put this very professional looking tea towel on top of the stool to stop the harp resonating through the wooden stool, and probably the most professional part of this is that I've lashed the harp down with a piece of string. So you know, it's pretty rough, but it kind of works. I'll just show you these levers while I'm in close. Here's a note of F, and there is the lever being pushed up, and we now have an F sharp. And as you can see, you've got them on all the reds and all the blues, all the C's and all the F's. It's lovely though, isn't it? Really lovely looking instrument. So here's this sort of snap that I was talking about. Lovely snap on this C, which is an octave above middle C. By the way, the range is, well, there's middle C on your piano. So it goes down to the C, an octave below that. So there's the octave below middle C, there is middle C, there's the C above middle C, there's the C above that. It goes up to this G here, tiny little string, which is 2 octaves above the G, which is above middle C. So the way I've got this, I can sit at the harp. I don't even have to touch the body of the harp at all, though I do tend to sort of put my shoulder into it a little bit, just to brace it a bit. The idea is that you should have your strings straight, okay, which I have got more or less, I think. The first thing I came up with was a simple version of Twinkle, Twinkle Little Star, which is my go-to tune on any instrument when I start to learn it. And what I did was come up with a simple arrangement where I could use just my index fingers. So I'll play you that first, and that will give you a bit of an idea of the sound of the instrument. And even with that simple little tune, you can hear that it's got a lovely tone, hasn't it? Lovely, as I say, this snap to it, which I like. The bass strings sound really nice. As do these really high strings. When I got this instrument, bear in mind that it's about 6 years old, I tuned it up once and it's actually stayed in tune since. I haven't had to retune it at all. Obviously, if you buy a new instrument, a new harp, any new harp, it's going to take a few weeks to settle down. So obviously this is not a brand new harp, so that was something I didn't have to worry about. But even so, I'm still amazed at how it's stayed in tune for the couple of weeks that I've owned it. Let me play you one of the tunes from Darlene Walton's book for the Harpsicle. This is Joy to the World, and not terribly difficult, but it sounds really nice, as hopefully I can demonstrate. And even with my very amateurish playing there with all its nasty buzzes, I hope you can hear that it's got a lovely sound, this instrument. If you have any questions about this instrument, of course, please do get in touch with me, or better still, get in touch with the company themselves, Sharpsicle Harps, and the address is on your screen now. Hope very much that you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you soon.